Hey friend, welcome home to the Naked and Truth podcast. In a world where it's hard to find the truth, we promise to keep it raw, real, and relatable. This is not your average fitness podcast. We're a community of people that choose to do it different. Naked and Truth is designed for you to own your potential, to live your life with intention, to expand your mindset, and find a community that empowers you to become the highest version of yourself. Each week, you're going to unlock a new understanding of how you can make your impact. You're not meant to be average. You're meant to own your potential. Here comes another raw, real, and relatable episode. It's time to grow. Welcome back to your favorite fitness podcast, the Naked and Truth podcast. It is your host, Sarah D. And today we are going to be talking about the trap that steals your joy, the trap that steals your ability to achieve success on your own journey, the trap that is going to make you feel like you are not worthy, which is so far from the truth. The trap that we're going to talk about today, guys, is the comparison trap. When it comes to owning your potential, the worst thing that you can do is start falling into the comparison trap. There are so many levels that we compare ourselves to others. I know that there's colleagues, coworkers, or simply friends and family members that you compare your financial status to, right? This person makes that much more money. We compare our cars, our clothes, our houses, and really the monetary value things that we have. We compare our kids and our partners. These kids behave better than mine. This partner does more than what mine does. He always takes her out on dates. He's always, lifting her up. He's always commenting on her Instagram. It doesn't matter what it is. We are very good at comparing. And what I want to talk about today is comparing your physique, because that is something that a lot of people struggle with on their health and fitness journey, is feeling like they're comparing themselves to somebody else. Now, there's a lot of different ways that we can look at this. When it comes to comparing, we need to understand that there's two different sides to look at comparison. One is comparing yourself to others and recognizing how much you have, how amazing you are, what it is that makes you different than other people, and how it's a blessing. And then there's the retrovert of that, right? Feeling like you are not enough, what you have isn't enough, that you're not worthy, that you're never going to get there, that they got there quicker. We really don't see a lot of people comparing themselves in a way where they're actually positively comparing themselves, looking at what they do have compared to what they don't have. And when we're on this health and fitness journey, so many of us give up, fail, quit solely for the fact of we don't feel like we're getting results fast enough. Now, something that I always want to get my clients to define, if they feel like they've run into experiences in the past where they've worked with either coaches or done programs, but felt like they gave up because they didn't see progress fast enough, is asking them what that definition actually is. What does not getting fast enough results mean? What does fast results mean, right? We need to make sure that we define this, because a lot of the time we say that we want something, but we give it a blanket term, right? There's no deep definition to it. So there's no way to actually gauge if we're ever achieving that. And I find that really comes down to wanting results quickly, right? That's a really easy one for us to say, well, I give up because I didn't see results quick enough. Okay, but what does that look like? What does quick results mean to you? Because the more that we can define it, the more that we can be realistic about if it is something that can actually be achieved, or if we're making up something that is unrealistic for us to try to obtain. So being clear in our definitions is something that is really important. But when it comes down to us comparing ourselves to others, we need to understand that there is never going to be an exact replication of who we are in our journey, the way that we look, the experiences that we've gone through. We are unique, and that is a blessing, okay? There is a reason why I named my company Authentically Fit, and it is truly for the fact that we all live an authentic life, and that means that we can either choose to own it and own our potential, or we can choose to self-sabotage by focusing on other people and really discrediting ourselves for what we have and what we're worth. It is going to absolutely be a make or break in your journey if you are constantly comparing yourself to other people. Now, it is 100% okay to have people that you look at as inspiration, but just remember, you're never going to be them. I could give you the exact same workouts as that person, the exact same nutrition. You could eat the exact same things, go to sleep at the same time, literally from start to finish, a repeat of the other person's day, whose physique you want, and you will never look exactly like them, okay? A lot of that comes down to genetics and the fact that we are just built differently, but there is nothing wrong with that. And this is where I encourage you to put your focus into what is most important for your journey. Not worrying about how quickly they made it in their journey, not worrying about the fact that they got a better physique than you, because they will always have a better physique than you if that's what your mindset believes, right? We need to understand that comparison is the thief of joy. If you believe that you're not good enough, you will never be good enough. Your belief matters more than anything else. So if you're believing that this other person has so much more than you, looks so much better than you, had a faster journey than you, it's always going to be that way, right? So we need to recognize that we all bring something a little bit different to the table. And that's a really good thing, because if we were all the exact same, life would be so flippin' boring. We wouldn't even know what to do with ourselves. So instead of looking at your differences as something that's a disservice to you, as something that isn't adequate, that's where I encourage you to look at you being different in a completely different light, where you need to recognize that there is so much potential within you, and there are so many great things within you that you're the one who's not allowing yourself to be able to own them, so that you do fall in love with yourself. You're so hyper focused on what someone else is doing and how much they have, that you're letting so many good things pass you by, and you are taking so much joy out of your life by taking years of simply beating yourself up out of comparison. I want you guys to remember a really important quote, because if you can remember this quote, it will serve you no matter what it is that you're doing. And that quote is that what we choose to feed will grow. So if you're constantly feeding yourself comparison, if you're constantly feeding yourself that you're not good enough, if you're constantly feeding yourself the thoughts that my physique sucks, I'm never going to get here, they were able to get here that much faster, this person had so much easier of a life, well, she has more time to put into things, he has a better physique than I do. It doesn't matter whether you're man or woman. What you choose to feed will grow. So whatever thoughts you're feeding into your head will continue to grow. So it is your sole responsibility to recognize the part that you play in that, because you can't be someone else. Like I said, we could duplicate literally the entire day, the entire program from start to finish of what someone else is doing, and you will not look the same as them. This goes for bodybuilders. This goes for lifestyle. We need to understand that everybody is different. And the more that we can learn to appreciate the positive things about us and also the quirks about us, the things that we know that we need to change, the easier it's going to be to make those changes. But it's also going to be that much easier to love the people around you. You know, I had a really great conversation with a client of mine. Yeah, she's been training with me for years now. And, you know, being able to truly see the changes in her mindset has allowed for me to feel so fulfilled in knowing that this client is literally living up to the definition of what authentically fit means. So I really want to read this comment to you guys, because I think that it's going to be something that will resonate with you, because whether you're at this point or not, I know that so many people want to get to this point because it gives them the freedom. I just want to take a quick break from this episode to remind you that you don't have to feel stuck anymore. In a world where there's an overwhelm of information, it can feel impossible to know where to start your health and fitness journey. It's my life's mission to teach others how to own their potential and keep health simple. You're here for a reason, and even if you feel like you failed in the past, I want you to see success like hundreds of the clients who have joined Team Authentically Fit and have chosen to do it different. If you're ready to stop gaining all the weight back that you lose, you're tired of the fad diets that fail, and you're ready to make long-lasting changes that make health simple and allow for you to look so good you didn't realize it was possible, I want you to message me the words, "Do it different," right now on my Instagram at authentically.fit, where I promise to change your life and allow for you to keep your results for good. Again, you do not need to waste time feeling stuck any longer. Send me the words, "Do it different," to my Instagram at authentically.fit, and we will discuss a plan that is specifically made for you and your success. One that's going to allow for you to own your true potential. I can't wait to hear from you. So one of the questions that I ask on my intake form when my clients are doing a weekly check-in is, how was your self-talk this week? Were you speaking nicely to yourself or finding yourself holding on to stress and negative thoughts? And she said, okay, I was actually so proud of myself. The same friends we went on a trip with were with us this weekend. I used to struggle with how I looked versus her. I have, thanks to you, gained so much confidence and appreciation for what my body can do. I actually stopped and recognized that I'm happy. And I've found so many new amazing qualities in the people I surround myself with because I'm good with me. So, and she put a little sticking out tongue. Now, this is something that I really want us to recognize, is how we feel about ourselves implicates our relationships with other people, okay? When we feel like shit about ourselves, when we talk trash to ourselves, we are going to have a difficult time loving on other people. This is when jealousy comes up, resentment comes up, annoyances come up. And the truth is, guys, is that we're never going to be able to change other people, just like we're never going to be able to be someone else. So what we need to do is focus on the things that we can control and choose to feed the things that we know are going to be positive for our growth, because we know what we choose to feed is going to grow. This is a really important concept that I need you to understand, because your happiness and your success depends on it. You playing this comparison game is stopping from you moving forwards because you're not looking at your health and fitness with the right mindset, okay? We can't hate ourselves into a body that we love. That's never going to get us to where we need to go. We need to get to a point where we love and accept who we are right now, that we have the self-awareness to be able to assess where we still need to make changes, but recognize that if it wasn't for the body that we had right now, we wouldn't be able to do all of the things that we do in a day. Without the body that we have right now, we're not going to be able to get to that next level of who we want to be. So we need to show some flippant appreciation, or else this is not going to work out very well. We're going to be constantly stuck in the same cycle where we feel like we're working hard, but never getting to where we need to be. And it's because we're not doing anything about our shit mindset. I promise you, when you want to make changes to your physique, yes, fitness and nutrition really matter. But what matters more than anything else is your mindset, because there's a reason as to why you got to a point where you are unhappy, okay? There is something that has gone on, or a multitude of things that have gone on, that have brought you to this exact point of not being happy with who you are and how you look. And I can promise that that ends up being a direct reflection of how you end up treating other people. There are people out there where they're annoying. They're not great people. Maybe they're a little chauvinistic. There's a lot of different personality traits out there. And sometimes it's just who the person is. But a lot of the time, we're missing the mark, and there's a lot of really great people out there, and we're hating on them for absolutely no reason because we don't feel good about ourselves. That is not a fun place to be. And if you have kids, whether you recognize it or not, they pick up on these traits. You don't have to flat out say these things out loud without your kids subliminally being able to recognize how you act around other people, how you feel about yourself. So it's really important, not just for ourselves, but for the relationships that we have, our friendships, our partnerships, our relationships with our children, our relationships with our extended family members, our relationships with our colleagues. This really matters on how those relationships are going to flow, depending on how you look at yourself. Okay. So I want to make sure that if you get anything from this message today, that you recognize that what we choose to feed will grow. What you choose to feed will grow. The other part that I want you to recognize is that you will never be someone else. That is not a shitty thing. It's actually a really positive thing. It's actually a blessing, but it's your choice whether you're going to own that, or it's your choice if you want to continue to sabotage yourself, because instead of focusing on what you know you need to focus on, you keep focusing on somebody else who you feel like is better than you, who you feel like has a better physique, got the physique that you admire faster, didn't have a lot of challenges in their health and fitness journey, and you've had yin yang and everything else in between come up. You know, it's just an excuse to not focus on what you know you need to focus on. So you can either keep pissing away a couple more months, a couple more years, a couple more decades for some of you guys, or you can start assessing your mindset and recognizing, hey, I might not be exactly who I want to be right now, but that doesn't mean I can't be great. I might not have Tina's legs, but that doesn't mean my legs can't be great. I might not have Mike's arms, but that doesn't mean that my arms aren't going to get to a point where I'm proud of them. There's so many things that we can make great over time if we're willing to put the time and energy into it. It just might not be exactly what someone else has, and that's okay. We need to learn how to love ourselves, because if we don't learn how to love ourselves, this ends up becoming a really rocky spot, not just for our relationship internally, but for our relationships externally. So I want to make sure that if you are listening to this podcast right now, that you're taking time to reflect. How do I look at other people? Am I constantly in envy? Am I jealous of people around me? Do I treat people poorly and judge them quickly because of the way that I'm feeling about myself? And if you are answering yes to those questions, it's really important for you to figure out why. Why do I feel this way? Is it because I feel like I'm inadequate? Is it because I feel like I'm never going to get to the spot that they are? Is it because X, Y, and Z has potentially happened in my life? It's okay that you've gone through really hard things. There's going to be challenges, there's going to be traumas, but they're not meant to keep us stuck. Okay? They're meant to grow us. And sometimes there's going to be periods in life where it takes us on a little bit of a tumble. But what's most important is that we get back up again and that we face these things, because now whatever happened to you, holding you back from your future, all you're doing is living that pain as if it's present, right? And you're through that. You've moved on from that, but you're living your life as if you're forever stuck in that. And so I hope that this really resonates with you, that this allows for you to recognize not just your power, but also your potential, that this allows for you to recognize what an amazing person that you are, and that there are a ton of qualities about you that other people admire too. That there is room for change, but that you can't hate yourself in order to get there, right? You can't come from a place of hate and just expect it to turn into love, because the 20 pounds that you want to lose is never going to be enough. Toning your tummy, and once you have it toned, it's never going to be enough, because if you're still at that point of hate, you're still going to be comparing yourself. You're still going to be allowing yourself to feed the story that you're not good enough and you're never going to make it. So it's your choice on how you want to move on from this day, because it can literally change today on how you view yourself and how you choose to look at others. So just remember, guys, it's totally okay to look at people as inspiration, but you can't expect to be them. You are always going to be you, and that's a really great thing. So make sure that you own it. Don't be afraid to do it different than someone else. Recognize that timelines and journeys are always going to look different, but that's the best part. We each have our own story. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to today's podcast. Take this time to assess these questions and recognize that you're worth it. And that's another honest episode drop. Thank you for tuning into Naked in Truth, where we come together each week to own our potential and level up our lives with intention. Don't forget to head over to my Instagram page at authentically.fit, where you will find more inspiration on how I can transform your life and make health simple. And you know reviews are so important for building a community of like-minded people. So if you enjoy this podcast, please take 2 seconds out of your day to leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify so more people like you can learn how to own their potential too. If you love this episode, make sure to share it with someone who you know needs it. Thank you so much again for tuning into Naked in Truth. And remember, love always wins.